you're a smart guy, you're a strategist, you're not a dreamer, you're not an idealist, and you joined this thing right now. Do you know something we don't know? Do you think the vice president is getting closer to actually getting into this race?
You know, I think I know as much as you guys do, so just sort of reading the tea leaves. It looks like he's definitely very serious about considering it. I don't have any inside knowledge, and you know, I think for me this really is just sort of a chasing rainbow sort of thing. I have a lot of affinity for the vice president. Frankly, after two presidentials in Florida, I was looking forward to spending most of 2016 hanging out on a beach and not in a campaign office. But when it became clear that the vice president was really serious about this, for me it was just a chance to raise my hand and grab an oar and be part of a movement to encourage him to do it.
And why do you think it's imperative for him to get in?
You know, I don't know. I think he'll raise the game of everybody. I think he's, first of all, I mean, his record is unparalleled in the field. You know, 40, 45 years of public service. He's obviously been involved in almost every major domestic and foreign policy issue. And I think, too, I mean, he's, coming at it with a, sort of a very adult attitude towards things. Again, I just think it's sort of the right time for a guy like Joe Biden to get in the race.
If I had asked you, as a Democratic strategist, if I'd asked you a year ago, I'm virtually certain you would have said that Hillary Clinton was going to waltz to the nomination. She was going to be basically coronated. She's had some problems. How much do you think, on a scale of 1 to 10 as a political professional, how much do you think the email controversy has hurt her politically with the Democratic Party and beyond?
Well, I'm going to say something that probably doesn't sound like on message for a guy that thinks that Joe Biden should run. I think that she's had a tough August. But if you look back at the history of presidential campaigns, including the guy I worked for, he's had a couple of bad Augusts as well. So, I think in the end, if she ends up being the nominee, I think Democrats will unify behind her. It'll end up being a race between her vision of the world and whoever the Republicans put up. And I feel pretty comfortable about that race. For me, this really isn't about that. This is about the fact that I think Joe Biden is a good man. I think he has the experience our country needs right now. And I generally just like the guy as a person. And for those purposes alone, I'm sort of happy to be part of this.
All right, Al Hunt, jump on in.
Steve, you're in a crowd of millions who likes Joe Biden personally, but what comparative advantages does he have over Hillary Clinton as a candidate?
Well, I think, first of all, if you look at the appeal of Donald Trump, part of the thing that I think has really helped Trump take off is he's sort of a straight talker. He's Mr. Authentic. Obviously, Joe Biden is that guy, very much as a brand. But unlike Donald Trump, Joe Biden brings a 45-year public service record. And he comes from a working class background. He's never really sort of lost that edge. He understands what working class families go through. And listen, I mean, I think that him being in the race it will be good for the Democratic Party. I know one of the things that concerns me, frankly, and this isn't.
I was going to say, Steve, you just compared him to Donald Trump. How about to Hillary Clinton? Does he identify more, in your view, with working class voters, and does he have more authenticity than Secretary Clinton?
Well, to me, I mean, again, this is my opinion. I think that Joe Biden is a guy that comes from a working class background. He in his entire career in the Senate, he was a stay-at-home dad, largely went home at night. I think he's never really lost those values. And so, yeah, I think, he's a guy that can talk to segments of the electorate that our party has struggled with over the years.
And how about money? There are a lot of people who think he'd have a great deal of difficulty raising money, which is at a premium in this expensive year.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and you know this better than I do. These primary races are really all about momentum. Do I think that Joe Biden can raise enough money to put together a good, competent team and compete in the early states? Absolutely. And if Joe Biden competes in the early states and picks up a couple early wins, will he raise the money to compete in the later states? Absolutely. So, yeah, I think it's one of those where, I mean, is he going to be able to build a behemoth operation like the Clintons have in a matter of 4 months? No, but that's not the goal. And frankly, our goal at this point is we've got a couple 100,000 people that have reached out to us, who've signed up on the email list, and we're going to start talking to volunteers in places like Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina about the things that they can do to prepare for Joe Biden getting in the race, assuming he does.
Steve, if Joe Biden gets in this race, do you think he takes votes away from Hillary Clinton? He splits the anti-establishment vote and then maybe helps Bernie Sanders? Or do you think he takes votes away from Sanders from the anti-Clinton vote? Where does he get most of his votes from?
I think it'll be interesting. I think he probably pulls a little bit from all the candidates. And again, I mean, these races, at this point, we're seeing him, polling at 10-12% in the early states, but he's also not a candidate. But again, I think he has the ability to talk, particularly to working class families in a way that we haven't really seen from a serious contender in a while. And I think he'll do well in places like Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina.
You're a Florida guy. Is there some scenario by which
Yeah.
you could imagine Joe Biden beating Hillary Clinton in Florida?
I mean, listen, I'm a realist. Hillary Clinton has spent 30 years in Florida with President Clinton, building a really strong network. Most of my good friends are in Clinton world down here. I think she would definitely be the favorite. That being said, Joe Biden has spent a lot of time in Florida, and it'd be fun if the race gets that far.
Let me ask you real quick at the end here. If you had Joe Biden on the phone right now, I mean, I think he's a smart man. And I think one of his fears, he wants to be president. I think probably in his heart would like to run, but he worries that she would be still, even in her somewhat hobbled state, she would steamroller over him. What would you say to Joe Biden to convince him in 20 seconds that he should do this?
If you're going to wake up the day after the qualifying deadline in New Hampshire and Iowa regretting that you didn't run, you should run for president.